Welcome to On the DL with Dara and Linds. I am Dara.
And I'm Linds.
Welcome. Oh my goodness. Thanks for coming back, guys.
Yeah.
Or starting with us. Who knows? This is the professional squirrel cast. Anybody who has listened to this is like,
Oh,
y'all are squirrels. I'm like, yes, we are.
I
Warn
love
ya.
that
Here's the
so
warning.
much. Here's the disclaimer.
Here's the disclaimer. So, episode one, we named, if you haven't watched it, haven't listened to it, Something Big is Here. And Linz and I have been kind of talking this morning, yesterday, what do we want to talk about? And I feel like piggybacking off of that is tapping into the energy. So when we are recording this episode, it's January 16th. Our plan is to get episodes out every other Wednesday. So we're still kind of in that energy, but it just feels like we're in the something big is coming slash something big is here. There's been so much energetic preparation, and I hear it from so many people. Linz, you've been having a huge detox and purge. I've had so much fear coming up and just like feeling the edges of my
Mhm.
comfort zone. And I think that's where we want to start because kind of our headline of one of our ideas for today was boot and rally. So it seems all very on the same page. Because on this journey,
Yeah,
there
no, it
is
very much does. I feel like
no end. It's a boot and rally.
there's no end. Yeah,
Dog
it's a
barking in the
boot
back room. Thank you, confirmation in the background.
Thanks, Mel. Yeah, I just feel like the energy lately, and a lot of who, like, people in my circle, right? Like, my mentorship, even like yesterday, I had a mentorship call, and like, everyone was just like, kind of in this purgy, like in their feels mode. And everyone I can feel is like trying to push through it, which is like, that's what we all, like, majority of us, if you're listening to this, you probably do it too. Like, we all do it. Like, we all want to push through because we don't want to feel that like uncomfortable feeling of the emotions or the feelings or like that fear that's coming up. It's like, it's asking us to sit with it, but it's what we don't want to sit with because, like, who wants to sit with fear? And something that came up yesterday was like, one of the girls was like, I never feel my emotions, which I know, Dee, I know you can
Hi,
definitely
I'm
relate
a
to this.
Capricorn. I'm a recovering Capricorn.
I love that for us. Um, but she was talking about how, like, she's going through a breakup and she's like having to feel all these feelings that she hasn't had to feel. She was with someone for like 5 or 6 years or something like that. And I'm like, that's a lot of feelings. And like, she can feel her, she was talking about like the back and forth of like, she can feel herself kind of like finding things to do. Like, oh, let me go out with
Hmm.
friends. Oh, let me go out with this. Let me do that. And it's like, when you do that, you're running away from what you're actually being called to sit with and reflect on.
You're
And
literally just stalling your progress,
you
truly.
are, you're stalling your healing, and you know, a lot of us were taught as kids to suppress our feelings and our emotions. And I feel like as a collective right now, like, I don't know how you've been feeling, but like, I've been feeling some freaking anger and rage and frustration and like
A
these,
lot of angst. A
oh my
ton.
God,
A
the
ton.
teenage angst is like,
And
I don't even,
I can't put a name to it. And that's the
yeah.
hardest part sometimes because when I sit quiet, it's usually in like a Kundalini practice, which is so stirring. And especially this week with the Cancer full moon, I was doing a specific Kriya and I was just like angsty and angry. And I'm like, I don't even know why. It's
You need
just
the emo.
there.
You need the emo
I
career
need the
music.
emo playlist.
You need the unforgettable era. We will tag that below
Alexa, play Ocean Avenue.
for the 1200th time.
Yeah.
She's like, starting 1201.
Oh my God. Paramore. Paramore, for sure.
Oh, Crush Crush, yeah. Hmm.
Yes!
Dude, I have that playlist that you made memorized.
For
But that
the
song makes me so angsty.
so
Like,
bad.
when we were doing that, it's so bad. I'm like,
Oh,
when I was doing the Liberation Kriya, I'm
oh my
like,
God. When you put Crush, Crush, Crush
yo.
onto that Liberation Kriya, like you're ready to like you're gonna like plowed down cities.
Bust through a wall.
Oh my God, it's like borderline dangerous. It should come with a disclaimer. Holy shit.
It should. You
And
may
then you
end
get
up
to
in
Let's
pillow
Start a
pod
Riot. Is it Let's
if
Start a
you
Riot
listen
the
to
last
this.
one?
Yeah, it's Riot by 3 Days Grace.
Yes. If
Oh
you
my
feel
God.
so angry, so like pissed down, so
It
I'm
just,
like, I am so angry.
oh my God.
I am so pissed off and let down.
How'd you know? How'd you know?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. But it's like, this energy is so purgy, but it's also so like, I don't know. There's such a mix of energies in the air too, because it's like purging, but it's also hibernation, but it's also, I want to get shit done.
What
Like,
I think the best word, I was kind of talking to Jenny this morning because I was feeling into the Leo moon coming up, the
oh,
Leo
yeah,
full
yeah,
moon.
yeah. Yep.
And just generally in this air, I feel, and I'm not an astrologer or anybody, this is just kind of like me being aware slash going inside and listening to what's there. It feels like we are preparing. It's this like,
Repairing. Yeah.
yeah, it's a hibernation, but it's also a get shit done because it's like, yes, you're
Yeah.
hibernating, but you are preparing your inside to go. I feel like once
Yeah.
we hit spring, there's going to be huge changes. I've already started
Oh,
talking to
chills.
people. I've already started, and
Sweet
today it's
chills.
been highlighted, especially as kind of confirmation. I feel like there's going to be a lot of physical shifting, people moving, people changing
Yeah.
jobs,
Yep.
changing. Like, this is not just a I'm transforming as a person. This is like a physical change.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I'm
there's going
already
to be
starting
a,
to see it. Like,
yeah.
my skin looks different, my body looks different, it feels different. Like every day I'm like, why does that feel different than yesterday?
Hmm.
And like I'm not saying it like because it's not like I'm getting, when people are like, oh, I'm getting old, like that's why it's happening. I'm like, no, this is like different. Like my skin's
Hmm.
cleared up, my the way my body is functioning is different. I'm waking up with different energy. I'm going to bed with different energy. Like I don't know, it feels like a deep cellular repair
Yeah.
on like but and on like a physical level, but also like an ancestral level. Like I
Hmm.
feel like there's so much ancestral stuff that's being cleared. And I think too, I just lost my train of thought. Shoot. There was something I was gonna bring up. Oh, I had a client recently who every time I pulled cards, the eight of cups in my muse deck would come out, and it's this giant black circle in this white background. It kind of almost looked like a white desert, if you will.
Hmm.
And there's just one person walking, like kind of towards the black hole, if you will. And every single time, I'm like, this feels like the void.
Yeah.
The
I was
Eight of
just gonna
Cups is
say
like you're
void.
walking away, but it's like it feels like the void right now. But we've experienced the void so many times that I feel
Hmm.
like this void feels different. Like the in
Hmm.
between feels different this time. Like it
It's like a known unknown. Like
yeah, it's
sometimes
like
you're
I've
in
been
it,
here.
sometimes you're in it and you're just like, I have no direction.
Yeah.
Like to me, that was me in the summer. I had
Mm.
no, I was just like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going on. Exactly. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to hang out with anybody. Like I couldn't really feel, it's not that I was depressed, but it's just like I couldn't really, sometimes I can feel what's coming up. I just couldn't feel anything. It was just like kind of
You're the
a
void.
void, like, hey, sit there and just be. But this feels
Well, I
like
think
you know
too,
what's
this was
coming.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
something big is like you were saying at the beginning, like something big is coming, something big is here. Like we're in that literal like right here. Like that's
Hmm.
where we are right now.
Oh
Like you
my
can
gosh.
feel it, you can taste it.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy that you just did that? The
Yeah.
confirmations lately, too, and synchronicities have been
Oh,
absolutely off the chain
unreal.
and wild. Okay, I'm gonna try to balance this microphone on my leg while I show you this. So if anybody can see the video. So the fact that you just went like this. So yesterday in my first Ayurveda class, she kept bringing up this mudra of this. And she didn't explain what it was.
Oh.
She's like, I want you to do it and I want you to feel it. And it's like if you close your
Oh.
eyes and you can feel it, to me, it's this huge
Oh.
balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I
I
can
feel
feel
that.
like a rainbow of energy in between my palms. And it's just like, and when you flex your wrist like this
Mm-hmm.
activates your heart meridian
Oh, okay.
as well because our arms are extensions of our heart. But in and then she tied it back to like Mesopotamia, the quote unquote first like human story written down with Inanna
Mm-hmm.
and Ishtar, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Ishtar.
And Ishtar's the goddess, and then it like
Mm-hmm.
showed the goddess, and she was holding like it's the creation is right here, and it's this balancing
Mm.
act of like the physical, the magical, and it's just all this balancing of energy. And it's so funny you just
Yeah,
did
I
that because
definitely
that
feel
was
that.
like a huge piece.
Yeah, well, like when I do that, I feel like I'm holding the world almost. Like it feels like
Hmm.
I'm holding that like void space, but it's like it's not one side or the other. It's like
Hmm.
just I'm holding it like a basketball.
And if you take away one hand, the energy shifts. You can still feel the energy, but
Mm-hmm.
it's different. And like take it
Yeah.
from the other side too. And there's
Yeah.
just it's just very interesting, and the synchronicities have been nuts. And I kind of wanted to circle back because we keep saying purging, and I kind of want to
Oh, yeah.
define what
What
that
that is.
means. So
Yeah.
purging can be so many things. It can literally be throwing up, shit in your pants. Like it can be a very physical purge, crying. Hello.
I'm like the queen of physical purge.
You really are.
I
Um,
am. I don't know anybody else that purges the way that
I
I
don't
do. I'm
know
like, is
anybody
this
else that
normal?
purges.
Like this.
Yeah, no, I don't know anybody else who channels energetic, like purges energetically like that. So purging is
It's so
like to flush out, right? So
yeah,
that can look so different.
for
It can be
everybody.
physical symptoms. That can also mean like
Hmm.
um we talked about this last time, like listening to your body with the energy that it's around. And so purging
Yeah.
symptoms can be physical, it could be crying, it could be exhaustion, it can be
Hmm.
nausea, like not wanting to eat or like eating a ton, like just noticing. Purging can be who you're around. Back to that diet concept of like purging people, purging like the interests you had, the things that you liked to do, the food types of foods you like to eat. Um, it really can be on so many different
Like
levels. And what it is clearing space. At the end of the day,
yeah,
that's all it is. It's
it's just a
clearing
clearing.
space because something else is getting ready to
Something big.
something big is coming. So, something else is getting ready to take that place because we can't, you know, fit the new
Mm,
couch where the old couch is going. You got to make the space in the room
right.
um,
Yeah.
for the
And you
new
can't
stuff.
have you like there's so much darkness, like we were just talking about with the void, like you
Hmm.
can't have you have to have dark and light. Obviously, we're all duality, but like you can't fill darkness with light. Like you have to take the darkness out for the light to be able to kind of seep in.
Hmm. And sometimes you got to
And
sit with that darkness
before it
to
can
show
be
it
let
light.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I didn't tell you about this yesterday. So, for the general audience, I have been feeling a lot of fear lately. Like I said earlier, I've had a lot of fear. That's been a big part of my like purging because I am accepting the next level of what I want to do and who I want to be. And it's been super uncomfortable. I've been feeling I keep having this image in my mind of me like screaming, crying, sobbing on the ground, and she keeps showing up, and I'm like, ugh, like go away. And um, I sat with her yesterday in therapy, and it was this like conversation between the two of us of like, can you please stay with me? Can you
Mm,
please hold my hand? Because it's so uncomfy and I keep trying to move past it that I keep like distracting myself. I'll go hang out with the kids. I'll go do something. I'll like put my energy somewhere else or just go to sleep. I'll eat and throw food at it. Like, she's like, no, can you just like sit with me, please? Can you hold my hand? And actually sitting there and not trying to run away from it. Like, you keep asking me, Linz, like, where are you abandoning yourself?
mhm.
Sometimes it's so goddamn simple. It's so simple that it's so difficult.
What's the simple thing? It's the thing that's right in front of you that
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, but no, it has to be something else. It's like, it's lit. It was always us.
So it's always us. It's always right there. It's the
It was always
simplest
us.
answer.
It's
Like,
always what's right in front of you that you don't want. It's the same thing with my mediumship. It was right in front of me. And I'm
mm-hmm,
like, no, I can do tarot, I can do coaching, I can do
mm-hmm.
this, I can do that. And it was like, hi, I'm right here. If
Right
you
here.
just look at me and like accept me, like things will pop off in ways that you don't understand. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll make the space. The light will come in. It won't be dark days after all. Like it's always what's right in front of you, but we're conditioned to literally look outside of ourselves for things, right? And in that
Yes.
process,
Well, that's
when
like
we're even looking
capitalism,
at ourselves,
materialism.
yeah. And then when we're like trying to look at ourselves or pieces of ourselves are like, hey, like I need a little bit of attention. We're like, no, I'll get to that later. I gotta go do this. And it's like, no, that's literally like the complete opposite of what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I
like
think
that
it's,
thing.
yeah. And it's so interesting because I've been really trying to prioritize like sitting in meditation and really just trying to like quiet everything lately. And I
Hmm.
kind of just tie it into my yoga practice or whatever, like even a couple minutes.
Yeah,
Um, and I feel like that allowed me to access that piece for her
yeah,
to actually speak to me and be like, hey, can you just like sit here for a minute?
yeah.
Like,
And it's always like, at least what I find, is it's like the simplest thing.
mhm,
It's like, hey, can you sit here and hold my hand? Or hey, I just need a hug.
yeah.
Like it's not like these we make it into like, oh, this is gonna be like a 3 hour long process of me sitting here with you and
And
like
I need
we're
a
gonna
program and I need to do a
yeah.
herbal protocol and I need to exercise and I
Yeah.
need to lose the weight. And like,
Yeah.
that's no, that's not it at
No,
all.
it's really not it. It's
It's so
very simple
simple.
things. It's so simple.
I know, but it's like, I think we like to complicate things.
We do, but that's again, it goes back to the conditioning. Like we are conditioned to make things, our whole society, if we look at it as a whole, we have created this society to make it harder than it actually should be.
Hmm.
People hundreds of years ago did not do the shit that we do today.
No.
They would wake up with the sun, go to bed with the sun. Like very simple life. And I know for me as of late, especially like being out in nature and things like that and just like camping, I just like shut off the world and I'm like, it's a breath of fresh freaking air. Like I come back to
Oh,
like
yeah.
physical society and I'm like,
Help.
yeah, like I just like not that I don't want to be depressed and like in a blanket for it and away from everybody, but it's just like there's so much energy that it's
Yeah.
like,
I think it's just all about like turning down the noise and finding like which frequencies of noise
yeah.
are in tune with yours. And that was
Hmm.
huge when I like shut down my social media for 6 months. I was like, I felt so good. I'm like, I really don't
Hmm.
need to see everybody's stuff all the time, nor do I need to be broadcasting my own.
Yeah.
And I've kind of like dipped back in, but there's days and I'm like, oh, I haven't gone on Instagram in like 2 days. Where before it was just
Yeah.
this constant like check on, check in, check in, check in, check in. Is anybody like, what's up? What's up? Like it just was this.
Yeah.
I'd be in there and I'm like, when did I open the app? I'm just here.
Yeah. Yep. I found myself before we even got on here. I went on to answer some messages on TikTok. And like that's the thing too, is like things are popping off. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go on and like check my messages because I want to make sure I get back to people, and be timely about it. And I go on and I'm like, I check my messages and I like found myself. I was like, just being aware. And I clicked over and I'm like starting to scroll and I get like I'm like, it's one thing when I like listen to something and then I scroll and I listen to the next thing. But when I
It's just
start
the
going
like
like
doom
this,
scrolling. Hmm.
I'm like, by the time I get to the fifth one, I'm like, okay, nope, we're done.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. And I
Hmm.
found caught myself, I guess, more and more, where I also like go on social media now and I'm like, ew, what
Hmm.
is this?
I like
Like,
don't
I
even
don't know
look. I
how
actually
you've
kind of
been.
just
Like,
go and I
yeah,
check my like I check
messages.
who messaged, which is you, James, and usually Janelle. Um, and
I have
it's
you and
usually just
Jenny, and that's
like,
about it.
yeah, Jenny's been on my list.
Yep,
Molly will throw some things at me. I have my like
yep,
college group, but it's usually just like check the memes
yep. Check the
and
memes.
then I get
That's
off.
it.
That's
Yep.
usually it. I'm just like,
It's like checking
what?
your email, but it's just like Just
I'm gonna
gotta go
check my
check some
needs.
funny things.
Yeah. And then that's it. But
Yeah.
I wanted to, so I think it was even last night. So James and I were talking about um like the emotional state of our kids. And specifically what
Mhm.
came to mind in the conversation was um I think it was like 2 years back. The kids and I were going apple picking, and Addie had a friend come with her, and then
Mhm.
Kess had invited a friend, but he said that he didn't want to go. So we're going to the apple orchard. Keston's just having a meltdown. Like he is just so upset that he doesn't have a friend, and he just goes into this like deep sadness, crying,
Oh,
sobbing. Yeah, he's just like, and it was uncomfortable like in the thick of it. Even I was just because as people were like, let's plug the hole, right? If
yeah.
there's a leak, like this is uncomfortable, we don't know how to
Hmm.
handle this. And I just kind of held space for him, and I was
Hmm.
just present. And I think I put
Hmm.
my hand on his like knee or something, just kind of like silently, I am here. Not
Yeah.
trying to fix it, not trying to plug the hole, not trying to do anything. Um, and he came out of it and he was like, thank you for being here. And that was such a big, pertinent, like, lesson
Yeah.
of sometimes you just need to have like a presence, like, be with
Yeah.
that, whether it's within yourself or with somebody else. Like, you don't need to fix every problem or quote unquote negative emotion. You don't need to get yourself out of the void. You don't need to do anything but be present and maybe sometimes like tag in a buddy and be like, hey, I just need to know that someone else is here.
Like you and I do. Hey. Hey,
Hey,
hey, roller coaster buddy.
hey, roller coaster buddy. But that's why it's like we don't need to chase off this darkness. Sometimes it's just like it's okay to like ask for help or just be in it and be present with it and like hold its hand.
Yeah. We're
That's
human
cool.
beings, not human doings.
Doings. Oh, I like
There's
that.
yeah, like no one we're not human doings. We're human beings. Like we're meant to be here and have the experience. We came here to be in the experience, right?
In Yeah, in my class yesterday, something that she pointed out, and I never really looked at this lens. She's like, if you look at, let's look at high school, right?
Hmm.
Um, Intellect and your body are the two
Ooh.
things
Hmm.
that get praise. You can get
Hmm.
a scholarship for being super smart, and
Yep.
you can get a scholarship for being really good at a sport.
Yep.
There are no scholarships, rewards, or accolades for being emotionally intelligent,
What
for
I didn't even know what
being
emotional intelligence was till about
right.
3 years ago. I was like, what is that term? What does that mean? Like, oh,
Communication.
you mean I'm tapped into my emotions? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. No, but seriously, and
To be
it's just
emotionally
like
aware, like,
the only like that's like the two things kind of that are structured in our upbringing in that kind of, you know, structure.
yeah,
uh, that
yeah.
truly hold the most value. It's your body and your mind. And there's this whole other piece
So crazy.
that's your soul. And to me, that's the most important part. And that's also the
Well, yeah,
part
we wouldn't be here without it.
that's the part
That's the
that is
most forgotten
you.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it too, like, I don't know, I think about like when you're in high school, right? And you're like getting ready in your junior year to go like visit colleges and all this stuff, right? Like, that was a very interesting experience for me being the first one in my family to go to college. Like, my parents never went to college. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna check out nursing schools, right? And then I like got to college and I was like, I don't know if this is actually what I want to do. Like, looking back, my soul wanted to help people heal. It wanted to
Hmm.
be a guide. It wanted to be a healer, right? And it was like kind of pushed down this path, which then in a way, right? Like I still had my soul, but in a way it kind of shut my soul off. for a little
Yeah.
bit in terms of like I wasn't doing mediumship. I wasn't doing tarot readings. Like I was like, what? And we're not taught to access that part of us. It's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Hmm.
What do you want to be? That's the first thing you ask a kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a policeman, or I want to be a teacher, or whatever. And it's like, what if I just want to be? Like, what if being
Well,
is
we talked about this,
arts
I
and
think, on the
crafts or
last one,
this?
right? On like
Yeah,
when people date, when we date, or even like when we're
yeah.
just meeting new people at like at a festival or like friendships. That is always the first question. What do they do?
Every time,
Every
every
time.
time, every time. It drives me nuts.
It drives me nuts too, because I'm like, I always say it's like, well, my like my real life job or like my matrix job is this.
Mm-hmm. But like,
Um,
this is what I do for fun. Like, this is what I enjoy. I love coming to festivals. I love seeing live music. Like,
mhm.
that's being. You're being in an experience,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, when you go to your matrix job, like you're being a nurse. You're showing up as a nurse. But when you go, you're like, you go
Showing
to
up as yourself.
Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
You show up as yourself. You show
Yeah.
up as your full authentic expression, which is we're not taught to do that at a young age.
No.
We're taught to you have to chase XYZ in order to get the degree that's going to
Hmm.
get you a job that you're going to be in and slaving away for the next God knows how many years. Um,
Well, the
and that's
dialogue's
not
changing,
being. It
you
is
know?
changing. It's
It's
really, really
changing. And
changing.
this is the age of Aquarius. Like so
Hmm.
many different things in the stars are like aligning and things are changing. And I think this year especially, I'm really interested to see how everything pans out because I can just feel this like deep change
So
coming.
much deep change. Well, I think you like you're saying at the beginning of the episode of like I feel like come March, because I know like the astrology I think for like the next month is a little wacky whack, and then I think
Hmm.
March hits and it's like I don't know if it's right around when Aries, it's like right when the right, lunar New Year,
Hmm.
um, or the astrological New Year
Yeah.
starts, but it's supposed to like I don't know if it's a 180, but it's going to be completely different than what we're in now.
Yeah.
And also like I don't know if you felt it. This has been coming up a lot in a lot of my spaces is talking about that first week of January was like, let's go. And then it was like, slam on the brakes, slamming in reverse 4 miles, and then just dead stop.
Missy Elliott. Turn
Literally.
down, flip it, and
You
reverse
know,
it.
reverse it.
I don't know, dude. The first week of January, I mean, we are doing stuff, New Year's, whatever, but then I had a healing session on the second, and like an hour before that session, I just
Oh,
started
that's right.
sobbing and all this stuff started coming up. And then I was an emotional, raw mess for days after. So I just feel like New Year's
Yeah.
hit, and I just like, it was like, we're dealing with the shit. We're doing it. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
just be
Let's
in it.
clear
You're
it.
just
Let's
in
be in
it.
it. It's just so raw
Yep.
and rough. And I'm just like, this is hard.
Yeah. I can't
But
even believe it's the 16th already. Like I look at the time and I'm like,
it's 222.
I know it's 12:20. It's almost your
Oh,
birthday
I
time here.
love it.
But yeah, and then like I'm sitting here thinking back, I'm like, what did I do the first week of January?
You were
And I was
living
like,
the life, dude. You
I
were
was,
in Vegas. You were in
I
the Valley of
was,
Fire. You
yeah,
had your
dude, I
feet
was
in the
just like,
sand. That was like magical.
yeah, that was a magical week. That was I signed one of my clients while I was stargazing in the
I
desert.
love that. We were doing the same but
Like
different.
what?
So I was like
We were,
emotionally purging, and
we
you were living
flopped
the life,
roles. We
as we
flopped
usually
roles
do.
as
We
we
do
I
the
gave you the
tagging.
baton. I gave you the baton.
Yeah. And
I was
then
like, here's the emotional baton.
here's the emotional
Can you
baton. Here
hold
you
it for a
go.
little bit? I'm gonna go put my feet in the sand and ground the
Awesome.
energies.
And then I handed it right back, and you almost did die.
I, I think a piece of me did
Piece of you
die.
did.
Fuck, dude, that was wild last week. Like,
Yeah,
I
that was
can't.
crazy.
I'm still trying to like process what that was. I mean, I know it came up during our shamanic training, but holy moly, dude! Like, it was funny. I was talking to Marco. Shout out Marco if you're listening to this. But I was like, he's like, "Oh, how you feeling?" Because he's in Arizona now. And I'm like, dude, I died on Friday. He was
Hmm.
like, what? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, just had a good old energetic purge. And then I was like, it basically felt like Austin all over again, like my
I
Austin
love how you're
MDA
wearing the sweatshirt too.
experience. I know.
How fun.
It's join the dock side.
Joy boom bats.
Butts. So yeah, that was a purge. That was an
Hmm.
energetic purge. And something I said during my mentorship yesterday, because people are talking about like, oh, it's the time of season, everyone's getting sick and everything. I'm like, the minute that, because you were asking me like, do you have the flu? And I'm like, "No, I haven't been around anybody. Like, how the frick would I get the flu? Like, it just
Hmm.
doesn't make sense." And the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I'm purging and I'm healing. Like this straight up feels like I did a session of combo, but I did
Yeah.
not take the combo. Like that's literally what it felt like. In Granted, it lasted a little bit longer than combo usually does. It was kind of like combo and Aya mixed, but nonetheless, I was like, the minute I switched my mindset to I'm not sick, I'm purging and I'm clearing and I'm healing, it was what, 24 hours?
Hmm.
And then by Sunday morning, I mean, Sunday morning was a little rough. And then by like 10 o'clock Sunday morning, I was like, I'm good to
There we
go.
go. We're out.
Yeah.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was like
And
out of the hole. And it's just so wild. And I feel like people who say, like, and I get sickness can be a thing. But I feel like when you say, like, I'm sick, it kind of keeps you in that perpetual spiral or loop of like, I'm sick. Because you're literally, words are spells. We know this.
I say that
Like,
to my
if you're
kids all the
saying,
time.
I'm sick. It's like, yeah, you're literally telling yourself you're sick. You're
You're
going to
claiming
stay
it.
sick. You're claiming it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
It's like
that's
when
going to
you have
keep
anxiety,
manifesting.
you can't
Yes.
like I saw this as a video somewhere and it was so good because I have experienced depression and anxiety, but I was claiming it so much of my own, being like, I'm depressed, I have depression, I have anxiety. It's like, mm-mm-mm-mm. You're experiencing anxiety, you are experiencing depression. Like we are not
Mm-hmm.
our emotions, no matter like how much it feels that way. It is an
Mm-hmm.
experience of that feeling, which can be super overwhelming and super consuming, but it's not our identity.
Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that. Like for me, for the longest time, I was like, I have Crohn's. And
Hmm.
I let that rule my life. And it did for
Hmm.
15 years.
Yeah.
And when I switched it to like, no, I'm going to heal this.
Yeah.
Like there's going to come a day where I don't have it anymore. And people are like, how do you just heal that? And I'm like, because I switched my mindset.
Hmm.
Mindset is everything, y'all. Like, if you
Everything.
take anything away from this freaking podcast, it's like your mindset is everything. Words are spells. Like, how you talk to yourself every single day, what you say to yourself, what you say to the people around you, and how you describe the experience that you're having, right? Because if you say like, yeah, I have anxiety, like that's gonna show up in your reality,
Hmm.
and you're gonna stay in that perpetual loop. You're gonna stay stuck in that mindset of I have anxiety, and it's gonna rule you because you're letting it
Hmm. Yeah.
instead of allowing that emotion, right? Because anxiety is emotion. Anxiety and excitement are literally the same thing. Anxiety is just fear based excitement.
It's a
It's
polarity of
literally
love and fear.
Yeah, that's literally all it is.
Hmm.
But we're not taught that.
Mm-mm.
We're taught like, oh, you have anxiety, you need to go on medication, you need to go see a therapist, you need to talk to someone. Like this is, not it's not good, right? Anxiety is bad. It's like, no, it's just coming from a place of fear. You're excited about something, but you're anxious because you're fearing like there could be a younger piece of you that's fearing it. It might not even be a current piece. It might be like your little inner you is like, I don't want to do that, but it's like crippling anxiety. It's like the Grim Reaper. I don't even know what I was doing there. For anyone that just watched that.
Yeah. I just think about, I mean, and in our society too, I feel like our society is just keeping us all sick. It is.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it is.
and when
The
I
whole
was
medical
on
system.
Oh yeah, when I was on meds for anxiety and
Hmm.
depression, and I just could feel I'm like, it's either time to go up on this dose or time to get off because I am very depressed, very
Yeah.
anxious. or experiencing anxiety, depression pretty bad, and like my personality was off, the whole thing. And I remember telling my provider, and I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna wean myself off. And she's like, well, you can stay on this medication forever. I was
I
like,
remember that.
I'm all set. And then when I think I talked to her, I saw her again and I mentioned, I don't even know what I mentioned, but she's like, yeah, you could go back on the med. I was like, no, I'm all set.
Yeah,
And
dude, I'm
it
super proud
wasn't,
of
and I can't
you.
even remember. I wish I could remember what I had said too, because like it wasn't even related to feeling anxiety or depression or like I was.
No, it wasn't. It's right on the tip of my tongue too.
I know, and I remember I was just like, that has nothing to do with anxiety and depression. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's been almost a year, dude. I'm so proud of you.
I know.
I just like it just
Thank
dawned on me. I was
God,
like, oh my
dude.
God, it's been a freaking year
You
already?
know, it's
Like
so funny. Last
what?
night, Kes and I were laying in bed, and he brought up Derek's death date, and he was like,
Mhm.
he's like, wow, it's almost 2 years. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's freaking
And I think
wild.
last year it came, and I didn't say anything to the kids because I didn't want them to like, I didn't want it to weigh down their day.
Hmm.
And he specifically asked me, he's like, can you talk about it on the like, can we talk like tell me it's the day? Like he wanted me to
Yeah.
make sure that I brought it up and like kind of highlighted it.
Hmm.
Um, but he's just like, I can't believe it's been 2 years, and I just think back to that time and oh my goodness, how much has changed and just like,
Dude, so much can change
oh,
in 2 years. So much can change in a year. We were just watching the freaking TikToks we made in December. And we
ooh.
were like, what fucking timeline was that, dude?
I
Like, where were
don't know. We
what
were
dark
so
hole did
sad.
we we were in the dark. We were on the dark side of the abyss.
Oh my God. It was so
Like
dark down
sad
there.
girl, blanket fort, sacral soup, tea every night before bed era because we literally can't function without coffee and
Yeah.
Anna's cookies.
I know I'm trying to
We
cut down my coffee
evolved.
today. It's a little bit increased, but
Does it
um,
I'm curious, as you're like purging and we're like doing all this
oh
shamanic
my
work,
God. Dude,
dude, how
I
does it affect you now?
smell so bad. My
Interesting.
armpits are smelling so bad.
Oh
I was
yeah.
literally saying this morning. I'm like, I feel like I smell. I don't know. I don't think I remember I said to Molly one time I was like visiting her. I'm like, God, I smell so
Mhm.
bad. She's like, can you shut up? You don't smell bad. Like, stop
It's
complaining
what
about it.
other people I don't think smell us the way that we smell us. And also we I think have like a heightened sense of smell because of all of our other abilities are like
Yeah, well, I've noticed with this week of like all the emotions and like the exhaustion at the
Yeah.
beginning of the week, and then with our shamanic class, and that was crazy. And then just I've been doing a lot of Kundalini, and like yeah, I just can tell I'm like my body is get like
Detoxing.
detoxing for sure.
Yeah.
And I restarted my like the Shilajit, and I've been drinking like warm lemon water with a little bit of
Hmm.
salt in it, and it's just yeah.
Dude, the magnesium's been burning.
I like right now, I need more spray.
Oh my God. Like
I need to put
so
that
I
stuff
started
lather my pits.
yeah, I started doing that, but I started putting it on my abdomen at night. Dude, it burns
Hmm.
my abdomen.
Oh yeah.
My abdomen is like
The first time I ever used magnesium spray. Okay, so fun fact, everybody. So if you use magnesium spray and it burns like a mofo, you are highly deficient. Most of us are very deficient in magnesium. Um,
yep.
Holy shit, I put it on my armpits the first time. I was like, oh, I heard it like helps with I was like, there's a fire. There's a fire under my armpits.
Dude, and it
It
doesn't
burned.
go away
Oh my God,
until
I
you
like
have to like take a
washed it off.
shower. Yeah, you
Yeah, I
have to
washed
wash
it
it
off and
off.
I was just like, ow. Like
It
I thought
like
I got
burned.
burned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that.
Oh my
It did
God.
that to me a little bit earlier today. I was like, is my shirt like rubbing on my arm? And I'm like, no, that's literally from the
Yeah.
magnesium. Like it just
Yeah.
has like this long acting burn. I'm just like, oh my.
Yeah, you're so deficient when that is the case. And it's crazy how much
I
you
know.
notice like the burn goes down the more you use it, which like
Yeah.
obviously you're not as deficient. And
Right.
yeah, I should probably get some. I've been having my migraines have been nuts. And it's just like, I already know it's not a migraine. It's like third eye activation with all the stuff that's been going
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
I'm just like, I know what it is, but like this sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
You're just purging a lot of fear. Migraines are related to fear, a lot of fear.
okay, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I think migraines actually specifically are around sexual fears, which makes sense
interesting.
with all the womb space stuff.
Super, yeah, super duper. That makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense with the
Hmm.
clearing of like the wounds that were stored in my womb area
Hmm.
and just like,
And
yeah.
two, like you're starting to see everything that you
Hmm.
didn't see before, which like it kind of feels like your brain's being cracked open, which yeah, that would give you a migraine,
All the time I
for
just
the
hear
lack
you
of a better
like, it
term.
feels like an ice pick to my head. And I'm like, exactly.
Dude, that's literally that was me last year about around this
I
time. Remember, I
know.
was getting those freaking migraine. It literally felt
Yeah.
like someone took an ice pick and was like, tick, tick. We're just gonna leave that there, okay? We're gonna
Oh
take
my
it out in a
God.
little bit, but
It's
we're gonna
like
put another one in.
daily. Yeah.
It's it's
It's
freaking awful,
crazy.
dude. Yeah, but it's just
I
it's a clearing of fear.
It's a clearing fear.
And
And
it's
you know what's interesting too is like I'm noticing. So when I was sitting in Ayurveda class yesterday, because I'm kind of like intuitively trying to, I don't want to say diet, but like shift eating and all this
yeah.
stuff. And Ayurveda, for those who don't know, it's kind of the sister science to yoga. It's very much the preventative and treatment of our health through or like food as medicine and different practices as medicine. And I am starting to learn about it. And I'm like, a piece of me is like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to follow the protocols. Like, I don't
Yep.
even know how to fully put it into words because I'm just
I know
like,
exactly what
it's
you're talking
such a
about though.
self-sabotage
Mm-hmm.
because I'm right now like on carnivore slash like struggling to be on carnivore because I think I know like intuitively my body's like, mm-mm, we're doing it this way.
Yeah.
And I'm having trouble trusting in it. And I'll,
Do you want to be on the carnivore, or do you feel like you need to be doing more like Ayurvedic intuitive eating?
I feel like I'm on an in-between space. I don't fully feel into either one yet. Shocking.
Shocker.
Yeah, but I know it's all tied because like I stopped doing CrossFit. I stopped doing HIIT workouts. I'm not called to like cardio and heavy weightlifting. And I've been doing Pilates and just like different slow movements. It's just been a total revamp
Mm,
and like tear down of all my self-care practices.
yeah.
Um, and this one is definitely like a next step. And I'm definitely in that like in between space because I'm like, nothing feels quite right because I was doing carnivore in December and it felt so good and it felt so right and it was so easy. And now I'm like struggling.
Well, you're like, yeah, you're in the in between. I was just thinking about this on my walk this morning. I'm like, man, this time, what, last year, 2 years ago, like I was hitting the weights.
Hmm.
I was in the
Oh, dude,
gym.
you were like running 9 miles.
I would go to the gym, run 9 miles, and then I would go hang out with John, and we would do a whole CrossFit workout after that. And I'd be like,
You tell me,
"What
I'm
am
like,
I
what
doing?"
are you doing? What are you doing? What do you need? How are you standing? How are you upright?
But then I would go home and I couldn't move the rest of the day. I was
Yeah.
like paralyzed to my bed.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that on my walk this morning and last night because I've gotten into this space where like I just want to be in nature. I just want to go on walks. I just want to go on hikes. I just want to go be outside. I have a gym membership and I'm like I'm in an area where there is one of my gyms because it was one I signed up for in Colorado. And they're not everywhere. It's not like Planet Fitness. They're only in like certain states, but they have
Hmm.
some in Phoenix. And I was like, oh man, I should probably get to the gym. You like go lift some weights or go on the elliptical or whatever. I don't want to do any of it. I literally find myself like when I want to get outside, I'm like, oh, I want to go for a walk. The other day when I was at camp, dude, talk about involvement. I used to be one of those people like I would not leave without a backpack of all my stuff.
Hmm.
I just like grabbed my phone, like more so I barely had any service, but I was like, at least I have my phone. I can SOS if I really need to. And I just took off into the woods. Like, I had no rhyme or reason, had zero idea where I was going. I just fucking took off. And I was like, at one point I ended up on a trail and I followed the trail part way out and I was like, I have no service. I have no idea where I am. And I like found a rock to sit on and just like sat in the sun. Didn't see a single person while I was out there.
Hmm.
It was just me and the trees and the birds. Like there was nothing else. And I was like, this is all I needed.
Hmm.
Like, this is so much more healing to me than, and don't get me wrong, there's reasons and seasons for everything. Like, I needed that season to show me, like, hey, you're like really still in your masculine, and like you don't need to be going hard all the time.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I just want to go on a walk. I don't even want to, like, some days I don't even want to hike. I'm just like, I just want to go on a freaking
Stroll.
walk, a
Yeah.
stroll. That's it. And I'm like, I find myself, the thoughts come up and I'm like, I really should be lifting weights. Like,
Oh
how
yeah,
am I going
it's
to
so
gain
funny. I
muscle?
was thinking about that this morning. I was like I was like dancing around the shower and I was thinking about squatting. All of the shower thoughts. I was thinking about like
I love shower
squatting and I was
thoughts.
like, dude, it was like anxiety driven. I had to work out every fucking day. I had to do
Yeah.
something. I had to go hard. I had
Hmm.
like I
Yeah.
like don't work out at all. Like I guess I do, but
Yeah.
it is such a different structure. And it took me like 3 times of leaving CrossFit to actually leave CrossFit because it was just
Yeah.
that like program in my head, like, oh my God, no, you need to do this. There's such a fear. There's such a fear
There is
of,
such a fear.
yeah, it's crazy. And now just like tearing down, not really giving a shit about any of it, it allows me to do what I actually want to do.
Hmm.
Um, I'm being super called to read. I have so many books to read, but to reading Reclaiming Body Trust
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember you saying you
because
wanted to
I
start that one.
started it and it
Yeah.
was really good, but it was
Yeah.
very much like, what if you stopped dieting? Like, what if you did gain 10 pounds? And I feel like since I started that book, like I was in a place of like being in my good shape and I was like, yeah, yep, I could do that. But now it's to the point of I did gain the pounds and I did stop doing the things. And like, here I am. It's been super uncomfy. It's been about a year.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so I feel like it's time to go back to that book and like be on the other side of the what if you did this and what if this did happen and
Yeah.
um because like starting anew. Oh, there she is.
You're welcome.
I guess it's time to read the book. Confirmation. In
Case you were wondering.
case you're
I was like,
wondering.
oh, it's coming. It's here.
Something big is here and it's Lindsay's
My trucker
gassiness, gassy
burps. Yep.
confirmation.
I'm just moving the energies, y'all.
We are here.
Oh my God. We are here. And oh God, dude, we've evolved so much.
Well, yeah, like, and that's the beauty of it. Blah, 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 blah. That's the beauty of it. Um, I don't know if I said it last time, but it's like if you're not changing, then you're doing something wrong. Like if we're the same, there's a piece of us that will always be the same from
Yeah.
like, and I think that's a ancient, I think Indian like aspect or maybe like Hindu
Hmm.
belief, something around there. And I apologize that I don't fully know the true root of it, but that there's a piece of your soul that will always be the same from the time you're 2 to the time you're 92 that never changes.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
that's okay.
yeah, and that's okay. But it's like if we're still the same person and doing the same things, like
You're just on the
you're
hamster
really
wheel.
missing out.
Dude,
You're just
it's
missing
been an
out.
experience, but I wouldn't change it.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't change the last 2 years
Mm-mm.
at all. At all. Like, it just, so much has come from it. I was actually reflecting on this. I don't know if it was last night or this morning of just, I look at it, a year ago and it's like where I am now is where I wanted to be a year ago, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, like a year before that, I was, being called back to these older pieces of me who were on the nomad journey and were trying to force, like me being in the middle of the mountains in Colorado 2 years ago, having to call my parents to bail me out. Like, I look at that version of me and I'm like, or Costa Rica version of me, bless her heart,
Yeah.
like, but I look at that version of me and there was so many things that I was trying to force
Mm-hmm.
or holding myself back from. Um, and now I'm like, oh, I just want to give you a hug. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to give you a hug. Like, we have evolved into this. And like I remember being in Costa Rica being like, I was literally in the mental prison in Costa Rica of like,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. I'm stuck here. I'm never getting out. This is it.
Yeah.
Might as well dig my grave now. And I look back and I'm like, I don't even want to say I'm not where I want to be because I am where I want to be. There's things that I have mentally had to let go of like the thing that was coming through strong this morning. I did that higher self meditation that I
Mm-hmm.
sent you. And it was funny because when you were talking about the sinks earlier, she handed me a rainbow this morning. She hands me something different just about every time I do that meditation. And she was like, that first question of like, what do I have to let go of in order to embody you? Like
Mm-hmm.
what I'm staring at, right? And she was like, you have to let go of the way that you thought things were going to turn out.
Yeah.
Because I'm like thinking of all the things that I manifested and wanted. And I'm like, a couple of those things still haven't fully manifested. And I kind of just, I've let them go because I'm like, they're going to come in exactly whatever timing that they're supposed to. But it's letting go of the way that I thought all of this journey was going to unfold, which is
100%.
so freaking hard to
It's
do. Like,
super
that literally
hard.
just goes back to the purge of like, I am purging what I thought this was going to look like, which
Yeah.
this experience looks nothing
It's
like what
so
I thought
different,
this
but
was
it's
going to look
so
like.
great.
Yeah, it is.
It's
And like,
so different, but it is hard. It's just that, like, I've had this conversation recently. Um, yeah, about like I think I need to let go of the expectation and like of a timeline because I know it's going to all happen.
mhm.
Um, and that Capricorn piece of me is like, I want the plan. But it's just like I know it's going to happen. I can already feel it. It's already happening.
It's a
Um,
feeling. Yeah, you got to follow the
yeah.
feeling over the like mental, this is how it's supposed to look,
Yeah. I mean,
you
I look
know?
back in my journal because I really started journaling at the beginning of my divorce. And I think like a year
Mhm.
ago, I looked back and looked at my journal for when I started going through my divorce and like what I was manifesting. And I'm like, oh, I did this. I did this like a while ago. And that's the beautiful thing. And like the where we are now is where we wanted to be. And we get to keep doing that. We get to keep like transplanting and moving and it's that ebb and
Evolving.
flow. Yeah, and evolving. And
Hmm.
it's that's where I used to be like, when I get a Peloton, I will have made it. It's like putting it on these materials. And then
Yeah.
I like got a bike, got the Peloton app, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like this. I ended up selling it. I was like, well,
This
it's funny when
actually
you
isn't
benchmark
it.
yourself. Yeah, it's funny when you benchmark yourself with a material.
Yeah.
When I get that house, when I get that car, when I get that to go on that vacation, when I get to go to that concert, like when I get to be a certain jean size, that's not it at
It's the
all.
feeling behind it all.
Yeah.
It just goes back to that whole thing of like, in that same time, in that 2 year period when all that nomad craziness was going on, I was like, I want to be a full-time tarot reader.
Hmm.
And the universe was like, there's more.
But wait,
But wait, there's more. And I'm like, no, I literally just want to read cards. Like, that's all I want to do. And they're like, no.
there's
You're
more.
so funny. You're
Well,
so
that's the thing.
funny.
We oftentimes keep ourselves smaller than we're supposed to be. Like
Oh, a
our
thousand percent.
yeah.
1,000%. My tarot card, I'm like, I don't even want to touch my tarot cards now.
Hmm.
Because I'm literally just straight channeling.
Well,
And
it's
like
funny
that was the
when
thing that was like supposed to happen all along. They were like, it was right in front of you, but you just didn't want to see
it's
it.
self-trust. It's
It
self-trust
is.
and self-love and like it all goes back to that. And it's funny, like when we were in our shamanic class and I
Hmm.
saw a card come up in my mind and she's like, oh, you don't need
You're not
tools to
gonna
do
need that.
divination. You're not going to need that. I'm like, yeah, but they're fun. Like that's the thing. It's like
They are
you can have
fun.
fun with it.
Yeah.
And that's
And
what
I
this should all
think
be fun.
it should all be fun. Well, that's the thing. Like this mediumship thing, I'm like, oh my God, it's so much fun. I get to
Yeah.
play. I'm like, I get to play in the land that I've been like exploring for the last year, but like, I get to do it all the time and I get to just do it for fun.
That's it. And that's where you can like take the pressure off and
Yeah.
just like do that's what you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Dude, when you get to a point where I had so much energy on that
Hmm.
live yesterday with 120 people in the room, I was like, I felt like I was in the upper world and I hadn't even like started doing anything yet. I was just
Hmm.
like, I think I channeled like one soul and that was it. And I'm just like, I was already up here. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is
Yeah.
insane. But I had so much energy and that was the thing. I think back to nursing, right? And I had this mindset of it's going to deplete me. It's going to deplete me. Well, yeah, I had the mindset of if I go to work, I'm going to get all this icky energy and it's going to be stuck to me and it's going to deplete me.
Hmm.
And now I like do this where most people are absolutely fucking afraid to because they're like, evil, demons, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
blah. And I'm like, no, it's not like that at all. In fact, the amount of energy that I'm expending, I'm getting back tenfold at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like I have more energy and then it just continues to overflow.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'm like, wow, I still have energy. I'm gonna go on a walk. I'm gonna go do me for a little bit, you
I
know?
think that's when you know you're
And
you're in your right spot, you know?
you're in alignment, man. If you're in alignment, you will have so much energy and be in such a flow state that you like you don't even know what to do with half the time.
Yeah.
Like
That was
you're just
me. I felt like yesterday where I had so many things and it was like meetings and classes and like it was so fulfilling on so many
yeah.
levels.
Hmm.
To where normally I don't have energy to do anything. And this I was like stacked from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed and it felt so good.
Yeah.
And I
It's a
was just
beautiful
like,
feeling
I'm
when you're in
not,
alignment.
yeah, and we come back to because a part of me was like, I'm not getting paid for any of this. And I feel like I just worked a full day.
Yeah,
But
literally.
it's like it's so funny because it's like building those little blocks. This is the time where like we're building it out because it's all step by step. And we always look at like the artist who blows up and we think it's overnight. They have been hustling and step by stepping for a decade.
You didn't see
It's
any of it.
no, it's the accumulation of all of the steps
Yeah.
and all of the rocks. Like
Oh, the
the
rocks.
rock.
Oh, the rocks.
But I think we should end here. I feel like we're probably hitting the hour, if not more, at this point.
Yeah.
We just start chatting little Cathans, but
Could yap all day. But no, I think
I
that's a good
know.
way to round it out of just like if you feel like you're going through it right now, you're not alone.
Nope.
But know that you're purging. You're purging. You're literally making space for the things that you desire, the things that you've asked for, manifested, however you look at it. And this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Like
And there's
go
nothing
in
wrong with
it,
you.
be in it. No,
Just
no.
rest, listen to what you
Yeah.
need because
Yeah.
this is like a short stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Just a little pit stop on the way to
Little
greatness.
pit stop.
Just a little pit stop. Get yourself
A
a
little
snacky
pity,
snack,
not to
a
be
little
confused with a
nappy
little
nap.
titty.
Titties always
I had
making it
to add it in.
happen.
We didn't talk about titties at all.
We didn't.
I
It's so
know.
sad.
It is.
Titties, they're here. They're
Can't really
there.
see mine, but
They're not out
they're
on the side,
everywhere.
although most people would like to see that. Not today, friends. We don't want to get banned. But we're just gonna keeping it littier than a big old tit in here.
That's
So till
it.
next time, friends, I'm sending you off with so much love. And
I'm not. Just kidding.
the face.
Not I.
Dara's sending you off with rocks. I'm sending you off with love.
Tell me she's a Capricorn. Tell me she's a Leo.
Literally.
We're just holding it down from above and below.
Literally.
Oh, well, until next time, friends, thank you so much for joining us on the DL, and we will see you next time.
See you on the next round, friends.
Bye.